Okay, next we're in conversation with the spokesperson for the ANC, that is Pule Mabe, and this is following reports that some of ANC members have still not been paid, but the ANC insisting that their members, the staff members, have been paid. You remember that the party has been struggling around issues around paying salaries for its staff members, and also conversations around whether or not it should be cutting its staff complement. Pule, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Well, afternoon, and afternoon to your listeners.
Thank you so much for making time for us as well. What's the status of the salary payout for all staff members of the ANC?
Well, afternoon again, Aldrin. Of course, we had begun making payments. The number of our staff members have already received their salaries. Just to state this on record, that every time when there are challenges relating to salary payments month on month, time is made to explain to staffers the kind of challenges that the organization is facing, because it affects all of those that would be in the employ of the African National Congress, including ourselves as National Executive Committee members. The Treasurer General did speak to a number of these challenges, including the newly enacted legislation on political party funding, the sort of declarations that those that would have assisted the party in the past would now be required to make, as well as the kind of thresholds that are set out, attached to how much could a donor make to a party at a time. So there are a number of issues that relate to that. So the ANC really relies on donors to be able to facilitate its work. And in the past, before we were under this strict lockdowns, owing to COVID, trying to deal with the spread and mitigate against the spread of COVID-19, would have had January 8th to celebrate the anniversaries, which would have been accompanied with gala dinners, where tables would also have been sold as part of our own fundraising efforts. Those activities are now no longer possible because of conditions that we find ourselves in. So the economic situation, the kind of economic challenges that we find ourselves in, also affect a party like the African National Congress, which ordinarily would depend on goodwill and on businesses to be able to fund its own activities.
Okay, so does this mean that not all staff members have been paid yet?
Well, I know that those payments are ongoing, and these are internal matters. Those that might not have received their payments would have been informed, and all of that. I wouldn't want to really speak about
I just
a matter that is of an internal nature.
Yeah, confirmation that not all staff members have been paid.
Well, I wouldn't know whether it's all or not all. But what we have agreed to not do is that we are not going to make the payment of staff a media issue. So we had agreed to speak to yourselves just to explain. Matters of salaries and their payments to staff are really internal.
Yeah.
So the ANC is not going to make it a standard procedure that it now comes out to speak about salaries with the media.
Sure. No,
we are doing so because we understand the interest that the media is taking on the matter, and we're doing it effectively for the last time. Where there are issues that affect our staff, we will use internal platforms that exist in the African National Congress to communicate to our members.
But it's not necessarily just the interest of the media, but your own staff members who've approached the media, like they've done with independent papers. And I just quickly want to read... Wait. Let me just quickly read what one of your staff members has told independent papers, and then I need you to respond to this. It says that it is very difficult to cope. I'm now 2 months behind on my rent. My car has been repossessed and I've not been able to pay my daughter's school fees. I borrow money from friends for food, but none of this is sustainable. I don't know what's going to happen if I'm evicted from my apartment because I don't have an alternative place to stay. Most days we eat Weet-Bix 3 times a day because there's no money to buy anything else.
Correct, I hear you, but can you then give me the name of that staff member? because we have got a lot of faceless people who are speaking as though they are they are working for the ANC when they are not even working for the ANC.
But you yourself, you can't confirm whether all staff members have been paid or not.
No. All staff members have been paid.
But I asked you.
No, but I said to you. Can I just explain? I said to you, we are not at liberty to speak to you about whether all staff have been paid or not. Now that you are pushing us, I can confirm to you that we've paid all our staff members. If there's a staff member of the ANC who has not been paid, they must say that with their names. What you are reading now, I can tell you, it doesn't have a name of a staff member. These are rogue elements who are purporting themselves to be members of staff. That person, whoever it is, doesn't work for the ANC. Give me a name. Tell me which unit in the ANC they are attached to. People are taking chances. They know that they are members of staff who had not been paid at a certain time. They take advantage of that. They are trying to make political statements. It's even possible that the person writing that or the person who gave that to the independent comes from an opposition party. People mustn't do that. Where the ANC has got a situation, the ANC explains to its staff members. The ANC has never left its staff members unaware of the situation. Those that run to the media are not people who work for the ANC. I can tell you that on record. These are people who are all over social media who are effectively thriving on weakening the African National Congress. If it means using the plight of staff members, they do exactly that. Let's get the name of that person. Let's get the unit that they are attached to. Let's get to understand the work that they are doing for the African National Congress. Without that, the ANC is then being drawn to comment on gossip, which the movement will never do.
Oh, and understand that. But do you then also take some responsibility as the ANC that it is the party itself that is in this position, and you've already painted out what could have led to the situation where the party can't pay salaries, right? It is the party itself that is in that position, and it has an impact on its employees, right?
Correct, Aldrin. Where conditions where the financial position of the party affect employees are briefed. The ANC is a responsible organization and a self-respecting movement like ours. We always make sure that those who are in the employ of the ANC, the hard-working employees of the African National Congress, who have committed their time, even under lockdowns, to make sure that they arrange the many virtual sessions, they organize activities of the movement, our campaigns and all of that. We have commended them for the kind of spirit they have displayed towards the organization, even under the most difficult of times. We've had an open engagement with them. The national officials have met with the representatives of staffers so that they are given an opportunity to raise their own issues. A commitment was made when last they met that at a certain time, payments would be rolled out to staff. That has since happened. So the African National Congress has never been shy to explain its situation to its own
But has the
employees.
African National Congress been embarrassed by the situation that it has forced its employees into?
Well, it is not even about embarrassment. I mean, we're facing an economic situation in the country. Are you saying that
it's not the first time. It's not the first time, Pule. It's not the first time that the ANC is failing to pay salaries.
Can I just speak? SAFM survives out of grants from government and out of selling adverts. We don't sell adverts. So you must understand that. If the SABC or any other media outlet stops selling adverts, many of these independent media platforms are going to close shop.
Yeah, you would also remember that the SABC has also retrenched workers because of the financial position that it finds itself in.
Correct. I mean, that's
exactly.
What the African. So no one has got to be embarrassed because there's a economic backlash in the country. Businesses are not doing well. Those that depend on businesses to raise funds, it follows that they too would face their own set of challenges. What we ought to be doing now is that we in the African National Congress ought to make sure that we are having consistent engagement with our employees, briefing them about what we are doing to deal with the situation, finding a model that works, that the ANC in its current form will be able to afford, so that no one is put under a strenuous position that is necessitated by a lack of funding to be able to sustain the workforce that we currently have.
Okay. Would you be able to tell us whether the party does have enough funds available in its coffers to honor that promise to pay salaries every month?
Well, I don't think that it's having enough money in our coffers because the ANC, it's donor-based. I mean, outside what we get from Parliament, which is an allocation that is commensurate to the number of seats that we occupy, including the other different subscriptions that our members of Parliament, councillors, and those in provincial legislatures, and others through the Progressive Citizen Forum would be really making contribution. We will not be able to say we have got enough or we have enough. All I can tell you, all I can confirm is that the Treasurer General's office, together with the national officials, as well as our own finance subcommittee, are working around the clock to make sure that we have got we are in a healthy financial position to be able to continue being a going concern and meeting our recurring obligations.
Okay, and just finally, that proposal that was mooted around cutting the staff complement around 50%, is that still on the cards?
Aldrin, there are a number of options that the African National Congress is looking for, including downsizing and all of that. But everything else that the African National Congress will be undertaking will also take care of the rights of the very employees that are on the payroll of the African National Congress. The ANC is going to move along with all of those that are in its employ. The loyal employees who are giving their time, who are sacrificing every moment they have to do the work of the African National Congress. They are not going to be left behind. Every decision that gets to be arrived at, every model that we opt for, they are going to be taken through, including the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, which has got the responsibility to provide political leadership to the entirety of the work of the movement.
Pule Mabe, thank you so much for your time. ANC's national spokesperson.